is our 7th lesson of How to Train Your Dragon.
Okay. Oak wants to say hello to you.
Hi.
Right, go on, Oak. Go be good now. Possibly. So, today we are going to write the final part of your story where you capture your dragon.
I've written hello.
And Storm's written hello.
I've written goodbye.
And Oak's apparently written goodbye. So, we're going to just read
How to train
the next bit of How to Train Your Dragon. Okay? So, let's just zoom in.
Zoom in. Zoom in.
Okay.
Zoom,
The cavern was full of more dragons than Hiccup could ever have imagined existed. They were every possible colour and size. Oak, shush. And they included all the species that Hiccup had heard of and quite a few more that he hadn't. Hiccup started sweating as he looked around him at pile after pile of the animals draped over every available space, even hanging upside down from the roof like giant bats. They were all fast asleep, and most of them were snoring in unison. There was a sound so loud and so deep that it seemed to penetrate right into Hiccup's body and vibrate around his soft insides, churning his stomach and bowels and forcing his heart to beat at the same slow dragon pulse. So how's Hiccup feeling, do you think, if he's feeling like that?
Nervous.
Really nervous. If one, just one of these countless creatures were to wake up, it would raise the alarm to the others, and the boys would meet a horrible death. Hiccup had once seen a deer that had wandered too close to a wild dragon cliff, torn to pieces in a matter of minutes. Hiccup closed his eyes. I will not think about it, he said to himself. I will not. None of the other boys were thinking about it. Ignorance is very useful in such circumstances. Their eyes were popping with excitement as they walked through the cave, hands over their noses to keep out the revolting smell, looking for the biggest dragon they could find that would fit in their basket. They left the torches in a pile at the entrance. The cavern was already well lit by the glowworms, huge, sluggish animals dotted here and there that shone with a steady yet dim fluorescence, like a low-watt light bulb. What technique's that, Storm?
Low light iteration.
Nope.
Simile?
Yep. And the flame huffers gave off extra little bursts of light that flickered on and off as they breathed in and out. Predictably, most of the boys headed towards the pug uglies of the dragon world. Snotlout made a big fuss about grabbing a vicious-looking, monstrous nightmare, so these are the types of dragons, smiling nastily at Hiccup as he did so. Snotlout was the son of Baggy Bum the Beer Belly, Stoik the Vast's younger brother. He was intending to get rid of Hiccup sometime in the future so that he, Snotlout, would become chief of the hairy hooligan tribe, and a gruesome and terrifying chief, as Snotlout meant to be, would need a properly awesome dragon. Wartyhog and Dog's Breath got into a loudly whispered fight over a Gronkle, a heavily armoured brute with fangs like kitchen knives sticking out in such numbers that it couldn't keep its mouth shut. Dog's Breath won, then managed to drop it as he was trying to bundle it into his basket. The weaponry of the beast made a horribly loud clatter as it landed on the floor of the cavern. The Gronkle opened its evil crocodile eyes. Everybody held their breath. The Gronkle stared ahead. It was difficult to tell from its blank expression whether it was awake or fast asleep. Hiccup realised, in an agony of suspense, that the gossamer-thinned third eyelid was still down, and there it stayed for a few heart-stopping moments until it slowly closed its upper eyelids again. Amazingly, not one of the other dragons woke up. A few grumbled groggily before making themselves comfy again, but most were in such a stupor that they barely even stirred. Hiccup let out his breath slowly. Maybe these dragons were so dead to the world that nothing would wake them. He swallowed hard, muttered a prayer to Loki, the patron saint of seeky exploits — Loki's another Viking god — and edged forward cautiously to grab the most unconscious-looking dragon so he could get out of this nightmare as fast as possible. And look, that's a Gronkle. It's a heavily armoured dragon.
Ooh, speed only 8.
Out of 10, that's pretty fast. So, your last bit of your story is going to be imagining you have now gone into the cabin and you are trying to catch your dragon. Now, as always, you can use these as a guide, these sentences. You can just fill them, copy them out and then fill in the gaps. It's completely up to you, or just do your own version of it. So, all around me, the dragons were snoring. It had an adverb in there. Snoring.
Peacefully.
Peacefully, yeah, could work. Or loudly, or quietly. As I something into the cave. Let's put a verb in there. How would you come into the cave if you're trying not to?
Sneakily.
As I sneakily went into the cave. I could see, and here I want you to describe the different types of dragons that you can see, and you can make up your own types of dragons.
It's not a wuzzle.
And remember, you designed your own dragon. You could find that actually your dragon's in the cave, and maybe your character captures the type of dragon that you created.
What was it called?
Quickly, I decided I was going to catch, and then either it could be a Gronkel or a basic brown, or what was the name of the one Snotlout wanted? A monstrous nightmare, or it could be your own dragon. Because, so why did you want that dragon? As I made my way over to the dragon, I could hear. So what could you hear? And I felt. So how did you feel? Because again, you could put another adverb in. So I carefully, or I quickly, or I quietly grabbed my dragon and it. So what does your dragon do? Does it wake up? Does it stay asleep? Does it fart? Before I placed it in my basket. Maybe the dragon farts before you put it in your basket. I smiled, I grinned in triumph. I had done it. Okay, so we're going to pause the video now and Storm's going to have a go at writing hers out and you can write yours too. Right, Storm's done her story now, so you're going to read it, Storm.
All around me the dragons were snoring peacefully as I snuck into the cave. I could see the Oxon dragons. Oxon dragons' powerful wings draped on my path. Quickly I decided I was
Going, there's no word.
To catch the sea sheep dragon because it is super rare and its rainbow tail changes colour as I made my way over to my dragon, as I could hear the wind howling in the tunnels, and I felt nervous because I might wake the sleeping dragons. I carefully grabbed my dragon and it yawned before I placed it in my basket. Silently I whooped with triumph. I had done it.
Right, and that's the end. So we'll go back to reading the next chapter of How to Train Your Dragon tomorrow. You going to say goodbye?
Bye bye. I hope you had a nice time with all our story.
And goodbye from Oak. With the socks still in the background. Different socks drying today. And goodbye from all of us.
Bye bye, and I hope you've had a nice time, and please send your story to us.